Welcome back into the live desk. I'm Janae Hancock. And, whenever I am joined by this man right beside me, you know that a holiday is coming up and we are expecting a record number of travelers to be hitting the roads and taking to the skies. We are joined by Nick Chaberria with AAA. Nick, thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk. It's been a minute since we talked.
It has been a while, but always great to be here, Janae. And yeah, we have a very busy kickoff to summer coming up here, that's for sure.
We definitely do. We are just, I believe, 14 days away from Memorial Day. That is the next holiday. And let's talk a little bit more about the record number of travelers this time around. What do you know? What can you tell us?
Well, this is a significant Memorial Day travel period that AAA is expecting for a number of reasons. One, it's the second largest travel forecast we have on record for Memorial Day since AAA started recording these figures back in 2000. We're expecting 43.8 million Americans to travel more than 50 miles away from home over the course of the Memorial Day holiday weekend. That's number one. Number two, this is the first major holiday where we've seen increases from the 2019 numbers prior to the pandemic for all forms of transportation, whether that be driving, air travel, or cruises, buses, and trains. So this is the first holiday that we've now surpassed those pre-pandemic travel figures since coming out of the height of the pandemic. Lastly, we're expecting to see a record number of road trips taken this Memorial Day holiday weekend. So going to be busy no matter how you're going, but particularly if you're hitting the road, expect there to be about 38.5 million Americans joining you over the weekend.
Yeah, and I do want to get back to road trips here in a bit. But what I found unique as I was doing my research this morning is that a lot of people are actually starting to book cruises for Memorial Day weekend. Can you speak a little bit more about that and maybe the number we're supposed to be seeing?
The cruising industry was one of the hardest hit travel industries with the pandemic. We've only seen it rebounding again, and we've seen big significant increases year over year for people that are booking cruises. We know that the vast majority of cruisers, you could do so locally, domestically, but also international cruising has been very popular. Overall, we expect a significant amount of people to take cruises. Somewhere in the 1.5 to 2 million mark is what our forecast shows. So, especially not just for Memorial Day, but summer travel in general. If cruising is on your list this year, make sure you're booking sooner rather than later to make sure you get the best availability and best pricing that's out there.
Hopefully you have everything set up and ready to go if you're going to be getting on a cruise, I should say. We are taking a live look at the AAA website. You can see nearly 44 million travelers. If you're just now joining us, we'll be leaving town for the unofficial start of summer, and that is Memorial Day weekend. Nick, bringing it back to you, you talked about road trips. Let's talk a little bit more about those gas prices. How are things supposed to look? I know that is always the biggest concern around the holiday season.
Yeah, certainly. And the main message for drivers, we can expect gas prices to be relatively close to where they were last year for Memorial Day. Currently, in KCK, the average gas price is $3.20. In KC $3.15. Missouri, Kansas usually positioned pretty well within the top 10 cheapest statewide averages in the country. But the real wild card for gas prices this year is what's going on in the Middle East. We've seen crude oil prices fluctuate, on speculation of larger the conflict expanding. So really, that's kind of the wild card that may determine where prices go for Memorial Day. But all things considered, if things stay how they are right now, we can expect gas prices to be right around where they were this time last year.
So definitely you want to keep your eye on the pump to figure out how much you're going to have to spend before you hit the roads. Maybe next week or the week after. But let's speak a little bit more about when this is all going to ramp up, the best and worst times to get on the roads.
Yeah, certainly we know that the Thursday before the weekend, Thursday and Friday, those are going to expected to be the heaviest travel days, especially around that early afternoon to early evening hours, anywhere from noon to 6. Really, bottom line, no matter what day you're traveling, and even on your return trip on Monday, if that's when you're driving back, the earlier you can leave, the better. Early as in, before 11 a.m., maybe around 9 or 10. If you can hit the road, that's going to help you avoid some of the heaviest congestion. Now, of course, congestion is going to vary, based on the area. Expect those areas that always see a high volume of traffic, especially around major metro areas. Those are of course going to be the heaviest. But by and large, if you can travel first thing in the morning, or if you want to wait till later in the evening, toward nighttime hours, if you're not traveling too far, that's going to be your best bet at avoiding some of the major congestion.
All great advice here. We're taking a look at some file video actually of people traveling at the KCI airport, focusing on here locally, Kansas and Missouri. Nick, what should people do now if they plan to travel? Maybe they were making some last minute changes and actually, I do want to go somewhere for Memorial Day. What should they be doing in order to prepare correctly?
Yeah, well, you can still search around, and there still are some decent deals to be had. Even if you're booking airfare, for example. What you may run into though is if you're traveling as a family, booking last minute, you may have some issues finding seats next to each other, for example, on the plane. But if you look around, there are deals to be had. If you're driving, make sure your vehicle's road trip ready. We like to use the acronym BET at AAA. That stands for battery, engines, tires. Make sure all of those are in good working order. You get your oil changed, tires rotated ahead of your trip. Also, if this is your first major road trip of the season, make sure you have those extra items in your vehicle like snacks, water, jumper cables, cell phone chargers, so that you're ready to go in case something does happen while you're out on the road.
You can never be too prepared, whether you're taking to the skies or hitting the roads. Nick Chaberria, thank you so much for joining me here at the Live Desk. And I'm sure we will be in touch and we'll see you back here at the Live Desk, maybe 4th of July weekend when we look ahead to that holiday. So thanks again.
Just around the corner, and hope everybody has a safe and enjoyable Memorial Day.
Awesome. I am going to leave you all with a live shot overlooking Kansas City. It's a gloomy day out there so far, but again, it's all exciting as we look ahead to the unofficial start of summer. Thank you so much for joining us.